Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back again to another episode of A History of. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night to everybody here. We've got Dard, we've got Maynard, we've got Ox, we've got Nancy. Hi, Nancy. And Savage is out there somewhere, I'm sure, listening into. Thanks, everybody, for coming back. We simple quick housekeeping at the start. We've still got maybe one or two slots left for the Palooza. So if anyone's still up for it and still not a psycho, let us know. Get in contact with. Yeah, we need the not a psycho, Richard. Don't laugh. That's going to be spending time sleeping in the same building as these people. We don't want psychos. So yeah, let us know if you're still up for that. Contact me. Contact Savage. Let one of us know, and we'll get all that sorted. But yeah, other than that, thanks everybody for coming back. As usual, we are stuck here with. I mean, stuck here. We are joined with Richard, the wonderful Richard. Richard, as always, quick synopsis. Let us know who you are for all the new people and all the rest of it ever watching.
One of my favorite movie lines ever, actually.
What's that? Good morning, good evening.
I am not in here with you. You are stuck in here with me. Okay. All right. The general idea is ancient human aliens wrote of their intention of collecting on their investment of us and minerals, etc. on the earth. We made that into religions. How's that for short? You like that one?
That's just good and short. So, we are what? Chapter 14, I do believe, verse 12.
Yeah, 14 something.
Let me see. We shall change this over to the right view.
Beck is the one. Beck is the one we should employ. Beck automatically recalls numerical sequences without trying.
Well, it just you should be remembering this. Well, we actually hired clout. Where's clout? No clout.
No clout. We have no clout.
So, we are, as I said, verse 14, chapter.
Come on, that was pretty 14. Good. I'm extremely fringe, and I said I have no clout.
Ah.
See what I did there?
Yeah, that's a wee pun. I like that. Right.
Okay. Well,
start to aggravate.
Do you want me to go like this to see it?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Or maybe you want to bring it up. Oh, here, there.
No idea what you're talking about.
And it's smaller over there,
So, up here.
Is that where we are?
That is where we are. Do you want to give a wee quick summary of what this is?
I think that was on the last show, wasn't it?
You need to refresh my memory. It's not like I pay attention to you.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so here we are. Yes. Yeah, people for the second half, although not damned, believing that the beast of Satan is the actual Christ, though he is the Antichrist, they're going to have a tough time, man. That's what this is saying. It's not going to be good for them. They're going to suffer all the wraths till they change their mind and go, you know what? This is bad.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be an enjoyable experience. We've established that.
And if they wait for the absolute end of it, when there's the oceans are removed and the great quaking of the earth, so great no man has ever seen. That means longer than we've been human being on the planet, this hasn't happened. And we look at the geological record, and that's true. There has not been a super volcano or something like that happen to the earth in the memory of man. Yeah, they're not going to like it.
Not in written
What's that?
history. Not in written history.
No. Not only not in written history. There was no language. There was no Homo sapiens sapien the last time this event happened.
So I can go, and that's a definite. You're making that assertion. I don't.
Yeah.
Personally, right. So in the entire 200,000 years that Homos have been around,
Yeah, the last time there was a major volcanic eruption above sea level of a supervolcano was 460,000 years ago.
Okay.
Like, no joke.
How's that? I turned the speakers down. Is that better for the echo?
I never heard an echo, so I don't know.
You won't hear an echo.
I won't hear an echo. I won't
No,
hear
you
an
won't
echo.
hear an echo. I just have to turn
No,
you
you
down.
won't
a
hear
wee
an
bit.
echo. You won't hear an echo.
Right. So yeah, it's gonna be shit. People aren't gonna be happy.
Yeah. Yeah. So ancient proto-man, Homo erectus may have seen something like that, but we haven't. And that puts us at 12, yeah? Yeah?
And that puts it at 12.
All right. Here is the patient of the saints. Saints meaning those already ascended in a position of authority and command in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Here are they that keep the command. What's that?
You're stating that.
I'm stating that, yes.
That they're already ascended.
Yeah, in order to be, never mind what the Catholic Church says or what the Protestants say of themselves. There's no saints on this planet.
Okay.
And people who had a confirmed miracle, and I don't even know what the standards of calling something a miracle is to the Catholic Church, aren't necessarily saints either.
For them to be referred to as a saint.
Yeah, I think in Catholicism you got to die.
Yeah, yeah. So they would
yeah, but not in
agree
Protestantism.
Ah, well,
yeah.
you know. Okay, so no saints on earth, only.
Yeah, no saints.
Okay.
I would even go so far as to say there's good evidence to say saint means prior Christ, which is why they're ruling over others and stuff like that. I lost my place. Saints, here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Okay. I think in order to keep the faith of Jesus, you'd have to perfectly understand what that is and do it right, or else you're not doing it. And I think the only one who understands the faith of Jesus would be Jesus. So in order to keep the faith of Jesus, you have to be a Jesus. What do you think of that?
Well, I can understand your argument for that.
Okay.
We've also established that this can be a very flamboyant book that uses metaphors and things to mean other stuff. You know? So
sure.
Not necessarily a guaranteed I agree with you, but I can see how your argument could be made.
That's fair. That's most I could ever hope for. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Right. Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth, yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. The good things we do here today. What's that?
You glossed over spirit. You were very adamant about making sure we knew that saint meant something else, but it's literally talking about the Spirit. Is it the Holy Spirit? What type of Spirit? What is this that it's referring to in this particular text?
I think he's referring to Spirit meaning Yahweh, saying, this is, I am speaking as Yahweh now. Like, this is what the demands of Yahweh are.
And could you please reiterate who you believe Yahweh is in the hierarchy of your system?
The seven spirits of God, wisdom, knowledge, counsel, understanding, fear, power, conservation.
Right. So not a physical person.
No.
Right. So what you're saying is the Spirit is just a group of ideas that are talking.
Right. So he's speaking for the Spirit.
Who is?
This one.
Which one?
The one saying, Yea, saith the Spirit.
So it's just a saint?
Yeah, some kind of saint, yeah.
Okay, so one of the saints says, Yea, saith the Spirit. Okay.
That's like saying, I claim to understand the seven spirits of God, and in this situation, here's the demands, commands, rewards, etc., that are demanded by our constitution, Yahweh, the spirits, that they rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. Which is like your humanitarianism, your love of people, your care for, I could get specific, care for the widow and the orphan. What's that?
It's an awful lot from just, Yea, saith the Spirit.
No, that your works follow them. I was talking about that part.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just trying to keep the rambling, you know. Right, so a saint is trying to describe the Yahweh, the ideas, the group. Okay. Go on ahead, sorry.
So those who accept everything, and I mean, in an internal critique, they're claiming that if your brain works right, or something close to right, you're going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them, their labors and their works follow them. That is, all of our experiences, good and bad, here on this limited life crap place to be, which kind of sucks sometimes, and sometimes it's pretty cool.
Pretty good. It has its bad moments, but I wouldn't say
it builds us, and that's a compliment to heaven.
Well, I wouldn't say we're stuck in a shitty place. I'd say the place around you and what you deal with. What, do you think the Earth's shitty?
Sometimes. In places it's worse than others, and then at times it's better.
But I don't think your life is what you make it, you know?
Swaddle a newborn infant is a beautiful, I think for most, a life-changing event, especially the first time they do that. To lay with someone you love is just flippin' amazing. But, you know, Granny dies of cancer early. Stuff like that. So that, you know, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, it's a balance of both good and bad. I wouldn't put it specifically either one or the other. That's the only point I'm making. Usually whenever someone comes across and says, this is a shitty place, this is awful, they're usually, you know, fundamentalist Christian wanting the fucking Middle East to take over and all that shit, you know.
Yeah, well,
if here's so bad, just kill yourself and move on. You know, that's the sort of attitude that phrasing comes with.
Yeah, while I'm drinking coffee. Good plan.
It's not my fault you don't have a good
You just want the show to end right now.
Richard doesn't have a good gag reflex, confirmed.
Or too good or something. All right. Yeah, 14. And I looked, and behold, white cloud. And upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man. For anyone who doesn't know that, Son of Man, a pat phrase meaning Jesus Christ, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. Oh, we got to this part. Guess what's going to happen now? And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice, to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy, it doesn't say sharp, does it? Sickle and reap. For the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. So here we are into the analogy of the vineyard keeper and the harvest of grapes. We've gotten into that now.
Mm-hmm.
Aha. And when you harvest grapes, you use a sickle. Or when you harvest wheat also, which is another way that the text refers to us, wheat.
Well, I know you refer to the humans and stuff like that there, yeah.
Yeah, right.
The harvest of the earth is ripe. We're at 16.
Thank you. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came. These angels announcing from heaven. I think that this is the relationship between the angelic and the Christ. That they don't like a cuckoo clock. You know, a floor. You know, a window opens in heaven. This floor comes out. And there's an angel on it. Goes, reap, 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 and the door's closed. It's nothing like that.
There was lots of images going through my mind. That was not one of them.
Sorry. It just, when I hear the Christians describe these things, this is what comes to mind. It's like a cuckoo clock or something. So, anyway. And another angel came from the altar which had power. Oh, wait a minute. Did I miss one? Another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, also having a sharp sickle. Okay? And another angel came out from the altar which had power of the fire, and cried with a loud voice to him that had the sharp sickle, this time it's the sharp sickle, thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. Now Christians will say there are not two resurrections into heaven. But either this is extremely repetitive for no apparent reasons, or this is two different events that are very similar, Although one's a great gathering and then one's in clusters, if you
Right,
will.
hold
Wink,
on.
wink.
Just
Small groups.
Just to confirm now, this
Hmm.
particular time, you're telling me it's not a repetition of everything that's happened. You're telling me that this time it repeats the story, even though before 3 and 4 times you've told me it's been repeating the story. This time, when it's repeating the story, it's not a repeat of the story, it's a different thing.
That one's a stretch. I don't even know if I want to accept that as an inconsistency, because there was stuff in between before. This is 4 sentences in a row.
Yes, but can you see where I'm coming from, right? I'm going to try and surmise it here, right?
Sure.
Story has happened. Repeats again. I think we're at the 3rd repeat. I have
Yes, I
agreed
think
with
so.
you that the first time that it did seem like it was restarting the story. The other 2 and
Okay.
3 times
Yep.
we've had issues with this, but
Yep.
this particular time where it is restarting the story again, you're telling me it's not.
It's not restarting the story again. This is not a summation like the others were, where the others were like, and there were lightnings and thunderings under the crown of God,
Yes,
and there
but
was
there's
a great
angels
hail.
coming
And
down and raping the earth. There's angels coming down, and it seems to be
Sure.
the most obvious synopsis, little summary of what's happening that I've read so far.
Okay, I think this only covers our ascension, nothing else.
So all the Christians say that it's repeating the story. You think they're wrong and mad for saying it, even though you've said that the story repeats itself a few times, but this time, when everyone else says it's repeating, you say it's not.
No, that's not what's going on, as far as I can tell. What I'm saying is, twice in a row, an angel comes out and says reap, and the one with the sickle, sharp or not, either harvests a bunch at one time or clusters. And a bunch at one time is not a cluster, and cluster means like a small group of grapes, whereas like a large harvesting is more than a cluster. So I think this is talking about 2 separate things, because it's not repetitive, although it is the same topic 4 in a row, 2 events.
I get from what I'm seeing, right? Going by your
Yeah.
standard, what you
Yeah.
have told me before, and as I say, I've never
Uh-huh.
read this, and I don't really have been out of Christianity for a long time, right?
Yeah.
At the end of a lot of chapters, right, out of what we've read, it does a wee summary at the end of the chapter of what has happened, and then it restarts the whole story.
Yeah.
That is the pattern that I have been getting from you for these 31 episodes.
Yep.
Right. But this time, it's not a little summary. This time it's describing something different.
It is a little summary of people going to heaven, first in a really big group and then in clusters.
I get that you're just repeating it, but I'm directly asking you a question and you're just repeating it back to me. At the end of the
I think
story,
that's the answer.
there's a summarize, and it's a what has happened. But this time they're not talking about just the summary. There's also clusters involved. This one is different than all the rest of them.
Well, it's different. First of all, it's not repeating the same topics. Okay, the other topics were thunder, lightning, throne, all those ideas, shaking of the earth. That's the part that repeats or summates in between the 3 sections of the book of Revelation. Now, this is another time when they're doing something very similar. That it's a little bit repetitive here, obviously. Anyone can see that. But at first, the sickle is like effective, though it's not sharp. And then in the second half, it has to be sharp. And in the first, it's gathering this large amount. And then in the second iteration, they only get clusters. So it's not only... It's 2 harvestings. In fact, there's a 3rd harvesting here we're about to come to. It's 2 harvestings, right? But the second harvesting is harder and not producing as much.
I maybe it's just me, but I am
That's how I read it.
I am seeing a problem with the fact, like, I'm seeing this being a little summary of what's happening. A summary doesn't have to use the same words every single time.
No.
We've already agreed that the way that this is written is repetitive and it keeps slamming home the same story. And when it comes to the end of the story, it does a wee summary. That's what I've got from you. And I'm seeing that the story is now running out to its end. They're doing a little summary, and I'm expecting, moving into the next one, from the pattern that has been laid out from you, that they're going to restart the story in a different way again, using different words to describe the same thing, as they have done previously. So I don't see a problem with why this time, I see a problem with why this time, when they do the summary, only because they've used the words cluster and sharp, that you're saying it is a separate thing.
Right. I don't know where before this there was an ascension or gathering.
The story has happened multiple times, Richard, and came to the end where we have talked about people going to heaven and stuff. We have talked about, like, from reading this.
Yeah.
In these 32 episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's using different words. I mean, I think I see your point.
To say the same thing, like, I don't agree with the pattern. You know yourself, I've had issues with it repeating itself in certain instances, but right now I'm just saying this summary, because it only uses the word sharp and clusters, you're making this a second ascension. You're just, there's now a second ascension.
Yes.
Because of them two words alone.
Well, there's a third, which is being thrown into the fire as well.
Okay.
A third part.
Fire, brimstone, end of the world. Seems very similar to me, just using different words.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
well,
just this
that's probably a good thing.
I feel that the idea of a second ascension is like an entire massive big thing, you know?
I think that most people, let's say for instance some crazy guy said something like, Pluto is made of cheese, right? And everybody goes, that's crap. There's no way Pluto's made of cheese. But then if NASA reported that it was made of, you know, bacterial cultures and protein products and it was cheese, whether you like it or not, people would just go, oh crap, I guess it's cheese. That's weird. So, you know,
people wouldn't
when
just
there's
go, that's cheese, that's weird. People would ask why. The people who generally cared would ask why, and they would find out why, and then there would be a scientific reason for how all these things ended up.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's not just a plea to authority, an actual authority, and it's confirmed, and you know, etc. Let's grant all that. People would accept it because it's just, I don't care if you like it or not. People would accept it because it's true, you know. And that's how we've dealt with everything ever. Like, we didn't want to accept Big Bang. We didn't want to accept
Richard,
this, that,
I'm
and
not
the other.
sure.
But
I understand what you're trying to do, but you're really losing me in the way you're answering these questions. I said to you that I feel that adding a second ascension is a really big thing, and now you're telling me a story about Pluto and cheese. I feel that adding an entire second ascension is a really big thing. And you're just going to tell me a story where if it's true, and we must accept it regardless of how silly it is. That's fine. Okay. But you're just adding it. Whether you think it's true and I have to accept it if it's proven true or not, you're just adding a second ascension. That's my issue. If it turns out to be true, fine, great, I'll agree with it. But you're just adding this now.
Well, I'll do a compilation video for you where I collect all the times that I've referred to that. That's all I can tell you I can do.
Okay.
Because, I mean, in my mind, this has always been the case.
I don't see why this now particular, at the end of a summary, when every other time it's happened.
Yeah.
Why now this particular time?
I mean, why is this part of the writing right here in the book? I have no idea why.
Okay. I don't think we're communicating properly here. I don't think I'm getting
choice of authorship. It was like an option. The author chose to write it right here.
No.
It's my best answer.
Yeah, I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. I'm
That
having trouble
happens.
communicating.
Well, my brain's not yours and shouldn't be, and yours shouldn't be mine, so that's okay. Let's just see how it plays out. How's that? And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. Thank you. And the winepress was trodden without the city, city being heaven, and blood came out of the winepress. That is, they're not grapes, they're like persons. Even under the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. I have not done the math on that. I don't know how big that is. It's pretty darn
The
big.
winepress was trodden without the city, and you're now saying that in this incident, this is heaven.
City. It's either it's the group of people. Now, if it's referring to outside of the city of Jerusalem, then it's obviously like referring to the people of Jerusalem. But when it's talking about ascension and people going to heaven and something being outside the city where the topic is heaven, city means heaven.
It doesn't say outside. It says without. Without
What do you mean
something
by without
and
is
being
not outside?
Pardon?
What do you mean without is not outside?
If I am without a t-shirt, I am not outside of a t-shirt.
Okay.
If I am without a TV, I am not outside of a TV. And I feel that city has been used before in a different term that didn't mean heaven. City of heaven. You know, why city is so piece of shit. City, if I have heaven and you say city, that's a piece of shit compared to heaven. There is no comparison. I take you to my local city. It's a fucking dump, man, you know. That's no comparison to heaven.
I doubt it's a dump, but anyway.
It isn't a dump, but you get what I mean, man.
Of course not.
I feel that you've used city before to describe a group of people or the earth.
Sure.
I feel that in this previous episodes, you have used city, or you have, when seeing the word city, described it as the earth. I'm pretty sure more than once, or a group of people.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So when I read this under what you have taught me, right, and what I have learned from you, when I read this, and the winepress was trodden without the city, that says to me, after using it, right, they have been harvested, all the humans have been lifted, and they are now taken to a spaceship where they are treated. They are without the city. They are not on the earth. They're not in heaven, but they're not on the earth. They're not on the city. From what I've got from you, that's how I read it.
Okay.
I don't see city being heaven. That's because from what you've taught me and what we've understood from before, city means earth.
Okay, so let's take this city as being earth. What are the implications of that?
Exactly what I just said to you, that they are taken off the earth after they're harvested, and whatever they're doing in the manifestation of these words with the trodding and the winepress, that metaphor they're using is happening on a different spaceship. This APC that I keep talking about.
I literally did not hear you. It's happening what?
On a different spaceship. I keep referring to a type of APC that goes around heaven and is doing all the work.
So this other type of spaceship, who would own it if in it they're being trodden?
I have no idea what the metaphor is that they are doing. I physically can't say, mentally don't know what the aliens are doing that this person is describing as trodden as a winepress. The only thing I can get from this...
But you do see it as negative, right?
Pardon?
You do see it as negative. It's like it's ending their lives.
It's not great. All of this is negative to me. This is just more negative. Okay. But I don't see it as happening in heaven. I see it as happening without the city. That's all I can read. And considering that you refer to the city as Earth, I can say that this is not on Earth, but not in heaven.
Okay. So what else is there?
This APC spaceship that I have mentioned a few times, that you always would refer to as heaven, and I'm like, well, it doesn't say heaven, it says this. Why can't it be a spaceship doing this shit?
Right.
And I've referred to as an APC, armored personnel carrier, military man, you know what I mean, you know.
Well, yeah, when you use that term, do you remember any of the other things that it did that could refresh my memory to the APC idea?
Yeah, it's not a great thing. It's a weapon. It's a vehicle of war.
It's a vehicle of war. What else has it done in the book of Revelation, though?
Dropped stuff off and picked people up and done things like that, you know.
Okay.
Shouted from the sky. There was people shouting from the sky where you said they had to be shouting from heaven. And I'm like, no, all it says is that they're shouting in the atmosphere. That could also be done from this ship.
Okay. Huh. Well, that's an interesting read. I never looked at it that way.
I'm getting that from you. Well, twisted in this.
Well,
and then back out again.
No. You're taking information and you're processing it in a different way that I do, even though I'm providing some of the things that I'm convinced of. That doesn't mean you have to process it in the same way.
This is why I have started the second religion. This is the demolish doctrine religion. This is where we disagree.
Well, I'm just investigating your doctrine here. That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to do. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Paul. Hey,
So-
Carl. TP Seeker and all the rest of you. Titans there. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
So, if the city here is Earth, and it happens without the Earth, right? It's not happening to the Earth, right?
Yeah,
or
I see
people
this
of the
as
city, right?
Yeah, happening to the people, but not on the earth.
I'm just trying to summate, so I make sure that it's, to paraphrase, so I understand your point of view. You can say, no, you got it wrong. Okay. And they are trodden being bad, meaning like ending their physical being, right? But that trotting is outside that city. It could be in this third thing, which is not earth and not heaven. Am I getting that part right?
Yes.
Okay. And we haven't literally like identified what this third thing is.
I have mentioned it a few times and
Right.
said that it would be sort of like, you know, I'm trying to use a movie and you haven't seen the movie. You have the mothership, then you have a smaller ship that comes down and does all the hard work.
Right.
It's
Okay.
that ship that I've been referring to as the APC. You know, hi Spooky, don't forget about the lurkers. Yeah. So like, not the mothership being heaven, the worker ship, a smaller ship, not one of these 23 moons, something that falls off fucking, you know, the mothership. Could be mainly attached to it. We don't. Another ship.
And do you think it's in the sky at 1,600 furlongs?
Well, what I have said to you about this is because of the fact that heaven is so big. And your justification for the answer to this was, they're really smart aliens, they have technology. A thing as big as the heaven is going to cause gravitational problems.
It could, yeah.
Now, if your heaven spaceship stays outside the moon and this smaller ship comes down, a lot easier.
Then I got to do something with the 3,000 feet that I don't know what to do with it.
Well, that's one thing that you could maybe think of differently. Where there's lots of other things that you are assuming differently because it must be heaven. I'm saying if you could get rid of one, which you're going to have issues with, but it's going to clear up 10 other things.
No, that's good thinking. I'm not saying it ain't.
By creating one problem, you may fix 10, you know?
Well, you know, that's a good measure of whether or not something's true if it solves more problems than it does create questions. Especially if it's like a lot more that it solves than makes problems. That's a good indicator of it being right, usually.
Well,
yeah, okay, well,
under
we'll
my
just have to
information
see
that
how
I've
it
got
pans
from
out.
you, that's where I stand. Reading this.
All I can say is I have to wait to see how it pans out. I don't know. I mean, that's logic. There's nothing you said was self-defeating. I can't say it's illogical. You're pointing out where you're getting it from the text. It seems plausible in the text. Kind of hard to argue with, isn't it?
Well, if we, I don't know if you want to take the next chapter as a start of another story or the start of another thing, because chapters don't technically exist. But and I
No, they
saw
don't.
another sign in heaven. I can't see it in heaven if I'm in heaven. So if this person is being part of the story and in this place which is without city, watching this happen, he then looks at heaven and sees something.
Yeah.
Right, well then he can't be in heaven, so this just confirms me from my...
Now, last time I said he was off away from heaven looking back at it, you objected. And here it is again, you're agreeing.
No. You said he was on the mountain looking down, and I said when someone looks upon a mountain, they're usually looking up. That was the disagreement.
Right, so he's outside of heaven, and those who are narrating to him were narrating from inside of heaven, which is what he was writing about.
That's a previous thing that there's no need for us to go over again, because I think we got to the point where we couldn't actually agree that we would be the same. This is another thing. I'm just saying from a visualization and writing it down, if I see something in somewhere, then I can't be in it. I would describe that literally differently.
The fish doesn't see themselves as in water. They see the atmosphere as being outside the water.
So, I would say if it's outside of the city, outside of heaven, outside of earth, sorry, and not in heaven, then the next line saying that he then, where he is, looks and sees heaven, you can't see it over there if you're honest.
Right on. I'm good with that.
So I'm going to say that this confirms my religion, demolish doctrine.
And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels, having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of God. So filled up, like completed, like there's nothing after that. Good?
Filled up
Makes
with
sense?
the wrath of God. I read that as in not a physical or whatever, filled up and all the rest of it. Filled with the wrath of God. I'm filled with rage, as in right now I'm angry.
It doesn't say with. There's no word with right there. It says filled up the wrath of God, not filled up with the wrath of God.
You're correct. I apologize.
It's all good.
I added that. My brain fucking seen that.
Our brains will do that very easily. And I saw it was a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, that means they're not on the earth with the 666 mark, and over his image again, and over his mark again, and over the number of his name, gosh, again, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. So they're like in heaven, they're looking down through the glass, they're on top of the glass literally. They're watching the earth be destroyed from this position of advantage and safety.
Hold on, let me see this.
Go ahead.
Okay. I see that they're standing on something. I can... Right.
So it's probably like some kind of, I don't know, Star Trek invented, which is Star Trek, I don't know. They invented clear aluminum because they needed it for a certain scene.
That was the
Perhaps
movie.
This is some...
Yes, that was the movie. It was Our Way Home, and it was about the whales. Yes.
Whales, that's right.
Computer.
That's right.
Computer.
Yes,
that's it.
Yes. Sorry, sir. You have to type on it? Type?
Aye, yes.
Oh, isn't that quaint?
As it went on, they used force fields for their glass windows, but...
Yeah. Okay, so this is like something that's like glass, but it's clear like crystal. So not isinglass or ancient glass, which was crappy. It's really, really nice glass.
Transparent metal. Yes, we'll just call it.
It could be.
Whatever the fuck it is, right?
Yeah.
What I'm asking is, what about the idea of being mingled with fire?
Oh, when you look through glass, it has refractive properties. And if you've ever seen like the light from fire or flashlight on glass, like at different angles, it has this refractive quality where it actually bends the light, makes it look like it's coming from another angle, which is why snipers miss shooting through glass, typically.
Okay.
So it looks like the light is in the glass. It's not literally in the glass.
Okay, right. Light being in a glass. Take a straw, put it in your fucking glass of water. You see light refract. It doesn't change color and start to do this and look like fire.
Well, okay, so let's say you had an open fire, like an actual wood-burning fireplace. And you took that same glass,
on a spaceship.
You took that same glass with that same water and that same straw in it, and you put it between your face and the fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the light source.
Okay.
But the flames and stuff, that is the light source. So
I'm down here, there's a piece of glass on the spaceship that they're all looking down from, and on the spaceship behind them, there's a wooden fire.
It's from their point of view looking at the earth burn.
No. It says, I saw another sign in heaven. I saw as if there were a sea of glass, and he sees these people looking down. He's not describing it from their point of view. He's describing it from here. Aliens in their glass. Light source would be behind them. That's on the spaceship.
If he's still outside of heaven.
Which he is, because he sees a sign in heaven.
Oh, wait a minute. He could be in... If heaven is bigger than him and the sign, it could contain both.
We just established 5 minutes ago that if we were in heaven, we would describe it literally different.
That would be true. That would be true. It would be described different, and here it's described different, which means he's in heaven. There's no need for there to be flames in heaven. That doesn't make any sense.
There is two sentences. There is no indication whatsoever to say that he moved his position from one place to another. It's and I saw. Remember, there's no full stops. There's none of this. It's just the words. Okay? So, saw another sign in heaven. Great and marvelous. 7 angels. Plagues in them. Sea of glass. Mingled with fire. Victory. There's no mention of transport. There's no mention of movement. He is here looking at heaven. This shit is happening.
Well, how long was it between the 600 furlongs, the 1,600 furlongs of blood, and I saw another sign? How much time space is right there?
It doesn't matter if it's a minute, a day, an hour, or a millennium. He is looking at heaven when it happens. It says that.
You can say that.
No. The words say that. I saw
another sign in heaven. Well, we're reading the same thing here.
Yeah.
Does he have to be outside of heaven to see a sign in heaven?
The way it is written.
Okay, the way it is written, I plainly read that he is in heaven with the sign.
And that's okay, because you consider that he was already in heaven from the very get-go. And I consider the point that he was somewhere else, and I see nowhere in this literary words whatsoever. And your idea is, well, you have no idea what time it is or how much time has passed. So he could have traveled. You're just adding stuff in. I'm looking at the evidence and the way it's written and taking into account no spaces, no full stops, no silly words and all the rest of it. And I'm seeing that he is in a place outside without the city and seeing something in heaven. I'm not arguing you over the Christian point of view or this other point of view or all that bullshit.
I don't even know what Christians say about this. I have no
idea. I'm just
idea.
reading it as it's written.
Yeah. Yeah, listening to, like, you know, apologetics on the book of Revelation, I haven't even bothered. So I don't even know what they say. But it does seem to me there's an obvious subject change, which is why they put in. This time I agree. I know I don't always agree, but this time I do agree that's a subject change, and that's why they put 15.
Man, you need to be more your job is to be consistent. This is one thing that you jump upon.
I think there's a topic change here, and I think it's evident. They just went all this harvesting grapes thing. Now we're no longer harvesting grapes. It's an obvious topic change.
Yes, I understand, Richard. It's not an obvious topic change. I understand that your story is consistent and stuff like that, and on the virtue and on the outside edge it is. But you're changing the word city. We've had discussions about changing the different Jesuses and stuff like that. When you slam down and get into the details of it, it doesn't seem that you are as consistent as you portray.
Let's say that I'd always said some 80% of the people would accept heaven from the start. Just, I mean, on its arrival, they'll be fine.
You're going to answer my question with another hypothetical story that you can control. Go on ahead.
No, I'm going to show that what you just said was not true of me. It's just not true. I have not flip-flopped between positions, not at all. But what I've always said, and consistently said, and will continue to say, is that some 80% of the people could accept reality as it changes, and they'll be just fine. And they would be part of a first ascension because they'd accept it right away, and that would be just fine. And that they would be in heaven, and that they are the city. So the city moves to heaven is really not a problem.
Your story is consistent. I have no issues or problems with the fact that your story is consistent. But your story is based on all these things. Okay? And I don't see a guaranteed consistency on the way you interpret words, the meaning of certain words, and certain circumstances and the way that the words are written. I see that you change the meaning of certain words at certain incidences, which you just agreed. Usually they're wrong, but this time they're right. And before, you have said multiple times before, you have said the scholars are wrong, the book means this. Okay? And it seems to me that your story is 100% consistent. Yes, you are sure about that. But you see different meanings. You don't intentionally change. But you see different meanings in different words to align your story to make it consistent.
Wow. Okay. By the way, the thing I conceded that they were right about was where maybe you could stick in a chapter?
Yes, I understand that, Richard, but the point is you've changed your opinion on different meanings of words as we have went through these episodes. And I don't mean that to be rude or ignorant or anything like that. We have had disagreements over the fact that sometimes you've used the word meaning this in a way, and other times you've meant the word meaning this in a way.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to keep track of, you see the word and this is what it means, and you just go with it. But I don't see the change. If you say to me, this word means this, then I'm going to take that under your understanding, this word means this. And then if later on you interpret it in a different way and go a different direction, I don't know that you're interpreting it in a different way because I've been told this is what it means. So whenever it's now a different way, I have an issue with that.
Okay. The only thing I can say to that is there are topic changes within the story, and the topic changes often change context. And within it, even in a consistent overall context, unless it just continuously only repeated exactly the same narratives, then it would use same words different ways. And one example of that might be, I have said, and several times, that when the 12 apostles ask of the Last Supper, that's referring to the sign of Aquarius, which the limits of are called a gate, which the meat of is called the city, the stuff in between the gates. And then the man carrying a pitcher of water is the Aquarius itself. And that also is the word city. But it doesn't mean a group of people at all. There's no people in the constellation Aquarius.
That's fine. That's understandable, because that's probably, number one, a different book, number two, written at a different time, number three, written by a different author. This book, you'll agree, from start to finish, whoever wrote it was the same person.
Gosh, that's hard to swear to. I'll go with that for now.
The person that wrote it down, whatever it is, there's one author to this.
John.
One author.
John's a scribe, and then Christ is the author.
One person wrote this down. One person narrated it. This is the thoughts and ideas, whoever put it in paper, of one person.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where I'm having the issue, because it's the one person. I would continue to use the word chair in the same way. Now, I can understand maybe you would call it a stool, or you would call it a bar stool, or different words for different things. But I am always going to refer to it as a chair. So when I write it down, every time naturally, I'm just going to write chair, 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 chair. But if you wanted to tell a story and you were telling the exact same story, you might write stool. And that's understandable, because that's a different book in a different time. The issues I'm having is we are on the same book, written by the same person. And I assume that the same person means the same things every time they mean it. If they were writing this, and there's literally no way to know when they're chopping and changing the meanings of words unless you have the prerequisite knowledge of this being an alien invasion.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole idea of being able to read this and understand it, and only Jesus will be able to, nobody will unless they have the prerequisite knowledge of the alien invasion coming.
Yeah, I think context is very important, yes.
So that's where I'm stuck at, and that's where I have issues with you chopping and changing the meanings of words in this, because it's the same person that wrote it from start to finish. Narrated it, scribed it, whatever.
Okay. Sorry about that. Let me get rid of that noise.
Let's look at the chat. The changing of the guard. We've got red pit. Paul, are you starting shit again in the chat? We need to get you on some night, Paul. I'd say you would be an interesting chat and interview. I think a lot of my audience would enjoy the conversation there. And you're always in the chats and telling me you're busy, like.
That was funny, because it was Beck. And Beck goes, "Hey, what you doing?" I said, "Well, it's MathPig hour." Oh crap, go.
But right, flicking back again, that's where I'm having the issues. Now, if, like, I have never said to you or made a reference to the same issues I had with all the Jesuses in the Gilgamesh story, because that's the Gilgamesh story and this is Revelations. And you can use Jesus and city in whatever the fuck way you want in the Gilgamesh story. I just don't feel that applies to this.
Fair.
But when city is used multiple times in the same story, I assume that the writer is going to use it in the same way. And as I say, to say it again, the only way to know that they're changing is your prerequisite knowledge of the alien invasion.
The only way to know it's changing.
The only way to know that the meanings of the words are changing is to know the story beforehand, to know what the story actually is. It seems like putting the cart before the horse.
Oh, let me look at that. Okay, so it's not a really big topic change here, actually.
Oops, Beck.
But, love you, Beck. All the way back up at 15 there, the harvest of the earth is ripe. Okay? And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. Okay, so to me that's something like bunch of people being called grapes, and Jesus like convincing them to go to heaven is like reaping them with a sickle. And yeah, that's all very poetic and maybe even makes a scary picture in people's head.
I don't think convincing them would end with them being trodden, but yes, I can see where you're getting.
No, those are failures. Those would be failures to convince.
Yeah, but in the last couple of chapters, I'm seeing them talking about the failures. It doesn't matter. I get the point. We'll not fight over semantics. But yes, your point is making good.
Okay. So that puts the majority of people in heaven. And if the people are the city and they just moved to heaven, then the great city is not the earth anymore. That's what I'm trying to say. And I don't think that's inconsistent to move the city to the heaven because the city just moved to heaven.
The city has always been described as the earth. The people have been described as waters. People have been described as vines. I can't remember the people being described as a city. I remember things being in the city, and Babylon being used as an alternative to the word city, and Babylon describing the earth and the shit that's happening on the earth. Now, I get that it's the people doing the thing, but I still have a problem with the, okay, you took the people from the thing. The thing's still there. The people can be...
It's fair.
It's
fair.
I find the issue with that.
It's fair. You're going to have a problem again when we get to the 7,000. I'll just tell you that right now. Because
I'm going to have a problem. Hold on. I'm going to have a problem with your interpretation of the 7,000. Yes,
you have a problem with my interpretation when we get to the 7,000, that in the great quaking of the earth perish, such a plague so great, 57-ish pound, that's American pounds,
we'll
16
wait till we get there, because you'll just end up
rocks
confusing
falling
me.
from the sky.
You'll wait till
but it calls them the city again. So I'm agreeing with you. This is the first time they've called people a city.
Okay.
I'm agreeing with you. But I think they're going to do it again.
I understand that you're agreeing with me. Yeah. With that agreement of me that the meanings of words change, that if the meanings of words change, they are not consistent.
Right. That's called usage.
Okay.
Because when you tell me to fuck off, you don't mean you want to have sex with me.
No, that the word fuck is the most diverse word. That is an actual special case.
That's why it's a great example.
There's a ghost.
Kind of a scary looking ghost, and he takes things.
He's got his big shiny thing underneath his armpits. He didn't even fucking go around.
That's crazy. I don't even know what that was. Maybe a wing or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe a battle axe. I don't know what that was. Where are we at?
Okay. So, chapter 15 here. Is this going to be the end of the story, or are we going to repeat again? Is it going to start the story?
Let me breeze forward real fast. That's actually a good place to stop right there. Is it 15:3 for next time?
Right, well then we've got another another 15, 20 minutes we'll go through this. Could take us an hour if you annoy me.
And those on that floor, see, there's a lot of ellipsis in here where they don't go back and say the phrase and they just assume your brain's going to insert it, which is, it's not the best way to write things.
I think we've agreed, yeah.
And they, on that clear floor, around the throne of God, sing the song of Moses, the servant of God. Are you saying things?
I was coughing and looking at where you are.
Oh.
I thought you said you were going to end at 3 and you're starting at 3.
You said we had 15 more minutes to kill.
Yeah. Do you want to go to the end of the chapter? That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We'll just see how far we get. I don't know. And the song of the Lamb, saying, "Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints." Okay, so, boy, that's actually an argument for the Christian view that all believers are saints, right there, King of saints. And they sing a song of Moses, the servant of God. I'm gonna say that this is very similar to the 144,000 who learned a song. It's the same kind of tapestry they're creating right there.
In my opinion, anytime anybody is describing in this, what my brain goes to when they say sing a song, proclamation of happiness is probably the closest phrase I can get. I'm happy with what's happening. I'm going forth with what's happening. I am proclaiming that this is the... Go with it.
All right. Okay, I can live with that.
That's what I read from this. I don't from this. I'm not saying that that's always right. I'm just from this. Every
Yeah,
time it
just from
says
this
they
in
sing
itself.
a song,
Yeah.
they're proclaiming that they're happy with what's happening.
Yeah, that they're okay with it at least,
Of
or
course,
maybe
yes.
even
The Lord,
pleased.
the emperor needs his empire to, everybody needs to shout out and tell him he's doing right. Narcissist,
Yep, it's the narcissist God thing again.
Yeah.
Or maybe the people genuinely agree,
No,
understanding what it actually is.
I love that. You understand what it actually is.
That's not what I
There's a
said.
statement.
Ooh.
There's a statement that just.
Ooh. That was very accusatory of you, brother. That was
That's
very
not accusatory.
That's not what I said.
That was me being pernickety on your phrasing. I've asked you a couple of times, do you know the mind of God? Because you have made a few statements.
I think I know some things about the Bible, and I think I know some things about the mind of God, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Of course, again, I will qualify all of these things that I'm convinced of as being what I find persuasive.
I want
and not...
this end of times shit that you're talking about to happen for one reason and one reason only, right?
Really?
So if they come down and they say that you're Jesus, and I get up in there and I'm all hanging around with the cool people, that's it. That's all I'm waiting for, man. That's all I'm waiting for.
Okay.
When it happens,
I don't know if I should even take you seriously.
Huh?
I don't know what to make of that.
Me and Sammy have talked about this, man. The true Jesus must always deny it. So so you have to deny it.
That's a setup, man. I don't know. I freely admit I try to imitate the Christ. I think that's what the word Christian means. And I try to imitate it in all ways that I know how, and that's what Christian means. And I often fail, and that's part of being a Christian too, I guess. Like my cheese slid off my cracker with Jill one day. It really did.
The best thing, but man, you should know what you should start doing with Jill from now on. Join every hangout. Don't show him any animosity whatsoever. Just be like, do you want a hug? I've been getting less back chat and less shit from him and all the rest of it. Just give him a hug. Here, give him a hug. You want a hug? Doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Doesn't know what to do with it.
No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Jay actually helped me a lot by pointing out that I lost my crap. He helped me a lot. Then I had to say, why did I lose?
I said to you at the time that you did, because the video was, and you were like, I wasn't angry. I was just a little frustrated. Now you're admitting to losing your crap.
Okay, it's kind of made up, but I was really pissed.
Yes.
So it's actually kind of both, because I don't know, I was never good at being angry or comebacks. Like some people are good at comebacks, I never was. So it's kind of contrived. Although I'm actually upset, the response and how I move my hands or whatever, I'm kind of doing that stuff on purpose. But yeah. So yeah, and you and Jay and others made me look at it and go, well, why was I? He said something that wasn't true. Why would I care if someone's a liar?
He probably interrupted you about 50 times in context before it. He probably threw a couple of digs in. You said some stuff that he laughed at. He's a frustrating person.
Yeah, well, he's doing it on purpose is the point.
Oh yeah, he's doing it on purpose. But just give the man.
See, I didn't really think about that before.
Just give him a hug. Jill needs a hug.
No, that's the answer.
Hmm?
That's the answer. If you're willing to lie to get love and acceptance and attention, my gosh, just don't make them lie. Just give them the love and acceptance and attention.
There you go. Just give them.
They can lie or not. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, racists need love too.
You could be accused of Christian for that attitude, however,
Right,
Careful,
come on.
Getting dangerously close there.
Verse 4. We'll fly through this. Come on.
Slap, turn the other cheek thing, love your enemies,
That's just a good idea, Some people.
It is a good idea.
Bloody murder. But that's just me.
Right on. Okay, if they're not being genuine in this in 3, then they're really cheesers. and saying, Song of the Lamb, Song of Moses, Servant of God, great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty, just and true are thy ways, thou King of Saints.
You see this extra explanation or exuberance and the fact that they are so adamant about it as a confirmation, where I see it from my point of view. If you're in an empire and the boss is like, I'm gonna fucking kill you if you don't do this, I'm gonna shout from the fucking top of the rooftops. I'm going to be even more enthusiastic than I would be to prove to this person who has narcissistic tendencies, as we're going to say, that I'm adamant about it. Because they don't believe me. So I have to be over-exaggerated. That's how I see it. Empire.
Those jeans look great on you, babe. I mean, amazing. Because if not, I die tonight when you poison my dinner.
Okay, telling your girlfriend her ass doesn't look big in this depends on culture. But, getting it right or wrong is not going to kill you.
Right.
The person who has
Good
the
point.
ability to destroy a planet, you're going to do, a little bit, slightly more consequential.
That's what I said. Either they mean it or they're being cheesy.
Okay. By cheesy, subjugated, yeah, okay.
Like overdoing it to try to be convincing, cheesy.
I get what you mean. It's just when you use the word cheesy, this puts with it a light context. Like I would be cheesy towards, say, my partner, towards Red or whatever. You don't say silly things. And that's cheesy because it's light and it's funny, You're being cheesy, romantic and shit like that. Where
cheesy, I don't use cheesy that way. But that I see what you're doing there.
But if I was being subjugated, I wouldn't use the word cheesy. If I was proclaiming over-exorbitantly to appease my master, I don't describe that as cheesy. I know they're similar in the way that they're described, but I wouldn't say it's cheesy.
Do you like the word subjugated or false humility?
Richard,
or
the only thing I really don't care about the word, I 100% understand what you're getting and we can move past it. The reason I'm bringing it up is to show your bias, that you see all of this as light and happy and wonderful at the end. And I just want to keep slamming home that these things that are happening aren't absolutely fantastic. And I do that for the audience, not for you. Like I do that for myself and not for you.
Yeah.
But it's a bias that you have, that every time you describe something that these aliens are doing, you put the light, happy word on it. You don't actually describe the thing.
Yeah, I'm extremely biased.
Yes.
Because I'm convinced this is overall awesome stuff for the human race.
Right. Well, if that's genuinely true, Richard, right? Like, if I was, say, teaching my daughter something, not training, right, but teaching my daughter something, right, I would want her to know the truth. I wouldn't say to her, and put her through torture. In her opinion, right, from her point of view, as it would be for the humans, it would be awful. I'm going to take all her teddy bears away. I'm going to lock her in a room. I'm not going to let her see any of her family or whatever. And at the end of it, she gets to go to the park for 6 weeks and spend an entire summer on having the best time of her life, which will never be matched. If I did that to her in that order, I'm a cruel bastard. If I explain to my daughter that she has to work to get something, if I explain to her that we are going to spend 6 weeks away from your mum, so you need to get used to being away from people, so I'm going to put you in the room for 2 weeks. Extreme version. But I'm explaining the reasons behind it to her beforehand. If you are genuinely in the belief that these things are wonderful, you shouldn't put the cheesy added niceness to it. You should be straight up truthful. You should just say, look, you're going to get this happen, you're going to get that happen. Don't put the cheesy niceness to it. Because if people
I think this is going to be really rough for... Sorry.
Well, no, that's it. If people find out that you lied to them or you put a sugar coat on it, it's going to be worse. I'd rather you were honest with me.
Right. Well, I believe what this text is describing is during the first quaking of the earth, mingle with blood, people are going to die.
Mhm.
and that there's no reason for great amounts of people to die in the poisoning of the ocean or the poisoning of the freshwater systems, especially if they're warned the stuff's going to be poison, like don't drive your boat through it. So like it's telling you don't drive your boat through it. It's nasty stuff, right? And then there's not like much in the way of people actually dying except for them killing each other back and forth, which is horrible. But they're trying to gain power. You know, they're doing like the, I don't know, the criminal gang thing where the most powerful one comes out on top. They're doing that kind of stuff, and they run out of supplies and stuff, and there's nothing left to give them, and they're like just like killing and eating each other, and yeah, that's super super sad. And I wish it didn't have to be like that. I think it would be lovely if people could just all go, hey, look, it's the signs of end times. Look, it's heaven. Look, it's angels. Hey, let's go. That'd
Skip
be
all
awesome.
the bullshit. It would be great.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't think that's ever going to happen, no matter how much information you put forth, because it's an extreme thing. But on a smaller scale, I do believe that my point still stands. If you are aware of something beforehand, when it comes, you can prepare for it, you're better informed, and you know it. If you go through awfulness for no apparent reason, that you only find out at the end. So from your point of view, there's no apparent reason. You're just going through awfulness. It's going to be awful. If you are aware that there's something nice at the end, there's a philosophical name for this. I can't remember what it fucking is. Determinism? Is it determinism? No, maybe not. Can't remember.
No, not exactly.
I may be wrong. It was described in something I can't remember quite recently.
Okay.
But I can't remember. But when you do good deeds for the pure, outcome of getting something good, you will do it. More people will do that. That's the point.
That's like the opposite of altruism, but a lot of people do non-altruistic things. That's true.
I just think being honest and not putting bells and whistles on it makes it more truthful. And I know that subconsciously there's maybe a reason that if you are desperately honest about what's going to happen with people, people aren't going to like it, and it may change their view of your happy-go-lucky, lovely Richard, because you are now actually promoting aliens coming down and torturing people, separating them from their family and shit and all this. I know I'm taking it to an extreme.
They literally do. I mean...
Yes, and it would change people's mainstream opinion of you if that's what they thought you were promoting. But the minute mainstream people think you're promoting aliens coming down, destroying the earth, and taking us up, that's the three things that people get. And most people wouldn't have a major problem with that. Yeah. A lot of people are going to have a problem with torture. A lot of people are going to have a problem with separating from families. And, you look at the Christians and Americans and how they view Islam, how they view Muslims.
Yeah.
Because of the things in their culture that they disagree with. And if I'm not aligning you with that, but I'm just saying people's opinions.
You didn't have to say that. Well, let me address that directly by saying, at the end of the book of Revelation of Jesus Christ.
No spoilers.
Okay, well, somewhere in the Bible, too late now. Somewhere in the Bible, it says, despite all these things, yet, come Lord Jesus, saying, it ain't gonna be easy. But we still agree it should be done.
Okay. Has there ever been a mass murderer or a serial killer or someone who kidnaps people who has told the person who's tied up with a knife in their mouth, this is a thing that must be done because it'll be better in the end?
Probably, yeah.
Probably,
I don't know of such an occasion, but probably, yeah.
Okay.
See, it doesn't make it more believable or acceptable. That's your point.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It doesn't, you're right.
The man with the power, the man with the spaceship, they have the power.
Yep.
So what they say goes. If they say it's the best thing, that's their opinion. If I can't stop them, still doesn't make it morally right. It just makes it happen.
That's right. And we all, or at least I think majority of us, feel that might makes right is altogether wrong. Might does not make right.
We would agree with that.
Which is why they can't have their will infringed upon.
You know?
Because
I
that
only
would be
beat you
forcing
because
a
I
person.
love you. Yeah, TP Seeker just phrased it. I only beat you because I love you. Yeah.
That would be another example, yeah.
It's paraphrasing, but we're getting the point. We understand where we're getting to here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
look,
that's
at no time do I want to promote the idea that the book of Revelation completed would be an easy thing for people experiencing. Not at all. But if I had to choose between 7 years of really, really rough for a population of 8 billion people,
could be 10.
and 10,000 years, had that not happened, of what we see today, I'll choose the 7 years.
I know that you would.
I'm
Because
just saying,
you've
it's my
left out
opinion.
I know. It's the details that make it rough.
No, with all the details, with all the rough spots.
I know that in your head you see the details. When you convey to others, if revelations happen, I would be happy because the ends justifies the means and we get to be in the spaceship. Now you would say something along them lines and people would be like, yeah, that's cool. This has taken us 31 episodes to find out what you think of revelations. And we're only at 60.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of context there and there's a lot of shit happening that people don't know. If you said that to me, I would have a completely different reaction than, say, for Toxic, someone who has just come across this, or someone who has a basic knowledge and sees you around or whatever. Yeah, Richard wants revelations to happen, that's cool. And I'd be like, yeah, but that includes torture. That includes separating from your family. That includes all this stuff that we've went through. And they'd be like, damn, that's a bit rough. And I'm like, yeah, Richard's promoting violence, you know. Now, not that it would, but it changes. It's a different point of view.
By the way, this conversation to wrap up this stream is very timely, because at the beginning of Revelation 16, read a little bit of that.
No, save that for next time. We'll save that for next time. But this is the point I'm making. All right? I'm not saying that anything Richard says is a lie. I'm not saying that Richard is a liar. I'm saying that Richard is very consistent. Sometimes he may need to change his meaning, to be consistent in his story. And he always puts a happy-go-lucky on it. Because you are a happy-go-lucky, good person, Richard. And we've had you crying on stream because we all know that you're a better person.
Don't talk about that.
You're a better person than the person you promote.
You can't do that.
Alright? We all know that. We all know that. Okay? This is why you put the cheesy outlook on it. Because you're happy that it's going to happen. Maybe happy. You know?
I'm happy.
Yeah. Anything that you would like to promote or share? You've got, what, Mac tomorrow, 5 o'clock, my time?
We got Mac and maybe a zebra. I know that sounds weird, but there's a talking zebra on my show. In case you thought that the Bible's impossible with the snake and the donkey, I've got a talking zebra. Every week. It's not even miraculous. Yeah, we've got that tomorrow. All times Eastern, noon.
I will have Saturday if I can get a host and a topic. You do that on Saturday, Richard. You never turn up on Saturdays.
Yeah, you know, normally I'm working, and I've been ill, and I've been at home, and I've been set up and turned down at the idea of One Skylar Fiction twice now, 2 weekends in a row.
He got a big thing happen in his life. I think that was very good for him. Whatever.
Glad
so
to hear
he
that.
wanted to put his energy into that. Which, sorry to say, Richard, you're a guy on the internet that talks about God. He's recently divorced, and if shit's going well,
Are you saying he has a life?
Fuck you. Go and do
Children?
that, Skylar.
What?
Yeah.
Gosh.
You can wait.
I did not know that a real job and real child and real life.
Oh yeah,
more important than
Skylar's got some
YouTube.
stuff
This
going
is-
on, and at the minute, I think this
That's-
last 2 weeks, from the little information I've got, it's going well, and it's in real life. So this is the
That's the
internet.
craziest thing I ever heard. Whoever thought like that YouTube is less?
You can wait. Come, I'll be your secondary prize, Richard. Do you want to be my co-host on Saturday?
Oh, that'd be lovely.
Right, so we've got Richard and Saturday. Fuck knows what we're... Oh, there's a question in the comments for anyone who's watched this. Think of a question, a topic that me and Richard could talk about that wouldn't be necessarily Richard's thing. A point of view that we could probe Richard on. Not anally, but probe Richard on. Yeah, something like that.
You really want to do that?
Yes, a different... Yes.
I have to defend flat Earth? Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say defend. Where the fuck did you get that from?
Because that would be challenging, no doubt. I'm not sure I could do very well.
I don't want to talk religion. A question for Richard on his way of life. How you look at something. Nothing to do with the, you know.
You guys aren't going to be interested in that.
I would be interested in that because that gives me a deeper look at the person. Hey, Bree! So, yeah.
I'll tell you what kind of boredom you're in for. I own 3 circular saws because one is battery operated, one tilts left and one tilts right.
Yeah,
now the battery operated one,
I have 3 grinders.
It does tilt a certain way, which is inconsequential because I don't care because I'll use one of the other ones.
You're trying to make yourself less interesting than what you are, and you know damn rightly you are. Are you going to host are you hosting an after party, or what are you doing?
Saturday night?
No, right now. You hosting an after party?
Right now. I'm not feeling all that grand, brother. I'm sorry.
No, I don't care. I'm going to bed.
I've been sleeping like 12 hours a day every day.
That's not like you. But at least your
no,
hair's not
normally
looking
it's
as
like
cold
6.
and sweaty tonight. But yeah, Richard's got that. Tomorrow, Richard will be back here on Saturday. Please leave in the comments a topic for Richard. Something to ask Richard, not about religion. And I don't think you're into politics, so politics really doesn't bother you. Don't get
what?
Exactly, yeah. It's like philosophy with an F. Who cares, right? But something for Richard. Leave it in the
comments. I love falafels. Those are tasty. A friend of mine here is a chef. Makes great ones.
Lemon bars, yes or no?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you can't get in the cult. No lemon bars in the cult.
What? I'm out? Just like that?
Just like, oh, no. That's, lemon bars.
What if they're not quite lemon bars?
I don't know. You need to talk to the leader. You need to talk to Marty.
Mowdy?
Well,
because I'm thinking because lemon pie, it's not lemon bars.
Spooky wants to see your tools.
I'll bet. But Spook kind of wants to see everyone's tools, so I don't know what to make of that. It's not even a compliment, actually.
Beard grooming. We could talk some beard grooming, man. You know, how do you get yours to look so good? I have like 3 different brushes, and it's never as nicely. You know.
It's the Moorish in me that you don't have. Your hair's not nearly as kinky as mine.
Mine's like fucking straw crossed with wire. That's the Irish
in
me. Right, we're waffling on now. Yeah, everybody, thank you very much for coming as usual. What the Back will be here on Saturday as well, so that could be interesting. They'll try and middle ground and stuff. And as I said earlier at the start of the stream, I still 2 slots left for the Math Minopalooza. 70 quid a ticket, accommodation, food, t-shirts. We ordered the t-shirts tonight now, so you need to get in there damn quick. So limited on your choices of colours at the minute now because we've just bought enough, so you're going to just get a t-shirt. But yeah, tickets to the museum, food, all the rest of it, all that's happening. Should be real good fun. New Year's Eve and New Year's Eve in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, look, I've got that. I've got that. There's two tickets right there.
Could you post?
I've got it. I'll give that to Beck. I'll give that to Beck. It's yours.
Yes. Well, no. Send it to Minnow. Oh no, that might work out at the minute because the dollar.
It's got to go through Beck. I only do cash.
Well, we could make money here because the dollar's dropped. So if you transfer it to me, and then the goes back up again, then I transfer it back, I get more money. Or is it the other way?
Okay, cool. I just realized that I have that right now, so there's the 2 tickets. They're sold.
Right, so Richard is confirmed. Bree is confirmed. Oh, Cloud's turned up. Cloud, we're on chapter 15, verse 5. But yeah, 2 slots left. Richard's going to be there. Beck's going to be there. Bree's going to be there. Maya's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Savage is going to be there. Hopefully, Sammy from Australia is going to be there. It's going to be fucking amazing. It's going to be fucking amazing. So, on that note, I shall see you all in Richard's tomorrow. We'll be back here on Saturday night. And, yeah, we're all crazy motherfuckers. Don't believe a goddamn thing we say. And,
But...
Bye.